Graham, nice to see you again. A positive week on the pitch. I guess that's been translated to the training ground this week.
Yeah, I think there's an extra buzz in their step, so to speak. But to be honest, I've not seen a massive fall in sort of the togetherness and the sort of banter that goes around the training ground anyway. But obviously, when you're not picking up the wins you hope for, there's always an effect. But I didn't think it affected the performances too much. But yeah, I think the performance last Saturday flowed into the game on Tuesday, and look, we would have liked to win both games, but circumstances went against us at Crewe with the red card. But Tuesday's performance was a great confidence boost for us all. It was brilliant to watch.
Yeah, how do you reflect on that a few days on?
I thought a difficult game against a really good team. I think we started the game really well, let them come back into it, or they forced their way back into it. I know there's a couple of goals and a couple of things in there we could have done better with, but they are going to ask questions because they've got a lot of attacking talent. But certainly we could have done better with that. But again, like Crewe, like in previous games, the response from the team was the perfect response in the second half. You know, to have a 2-0 lead, let it slip, and then go on and win the game away from home against a top League One team it was great to see, and I think it bodes well for our future months, and I think it sort of validates the work that players do every day to become a team, to show that togetherness, but have the quality to go and score the goals we did. And obviously the attacking intent from the team was superb. We could have probably scored a couple more, but we scored one more than the opponent, and that was the main thing.
Certainly is. What does it say about the players in terms of their character and mentality? Because those last two games, you've faced adversity and you've come through it. And you know, as we discussed last Saturday, if it wasn't for the red, you probably would have gone on and won that game at Crewe as well. Yeah,
well, look, we talk about it all the time from pre-season onwards, and about the game not being perfect, that things are going to happen, challenges are going to come our way, and it's how we stand up to them. You know, in our body language, how we behave. You know, do we go off and do selfish things, or do we stick to the plan and stick together and help our teammates? And I think the players have shown that in the last couple of games, and the supporters with us as well. You know, if you go back to the response to the supporters at the end of the game at Crewe, was amazing to see. So we realised we let everyone down, including ourselves, against Barrow at home in performance-wise. Excuse me, and we had to make improvements, and we certainly have done that in the last two games. But listen, we have to keep cracking on.
It's interesting you mentioned the Barrow game, and my next question might be quite a simple one, but you take the Barrow performance and then the Stockport and Crewe performances. How do you as a management team get the message across to the players? Let's do more of this and less of that.
Yeah, look, there's different things, because there's facts that you can put in front of them, but there's also a feeling. I think it comes from a feeling and an emotion. And look, I think we were flat against Barrow, and we never, until probably they scored, and then we sort of found this feeling of being on the front foot and trying to win. Sometimes, you know, players will lose their way or lose, you know, what they've been good at, and you have to remind them. So it's remind them and doing the work on the training pitch, and remind them that they're a good team, they're good players, they're a good team, and we can win games at this level. But there's certain things that we have to make sure we're doing right, and look, it coincides with 2 or 3 players coming back into the squad that are really good players for us, without a shadow of a doubt. And I think that's gave everyone a little timely boost and you know, a sort of confidence looking around, going, well, he's a good one, he's got, and they're all coming back. But that's not to say that it's just down to those 2 or 3 players. You know, everyone stepped up to the plate. You know, and obviously we made changes on Tuesday, so the performance of the squad over the last 2 games has been fantastic. So it's just about now keep reminding us each other in the meetings, like myself on a Friday when we train, the meetings before the game, and then when we're on the pitch, the senior players and all the players that know what we're good at have to keep reminding each other about, keep repeating those actions.
The system we saw against Crewe and Stockport, is that more of the Bradford City we can expect to see in the coming weeks?
The formation, yeah. So It'll be dependent on performance, on personnel. I think I looked at the Barrow game deeply about how can we get the best out of the players that I feel can help us win regularly, and the little tweak in formation, I felt it enabled players, the individuals that we wanted to put in the team for the following game, to play in their more natural and best position, rather than maybe squeeze them into a formation we've had relative success at. Fit the formation around the players we want to pick. So that's been the case for the last 2 games. I wanted to follow up Tuesday, even though we're making change. I wanted to follow up with the same formation to see if the other players can sort of perform as high in that as well. But I still think we have the flexibility within our squad to change the shape according to what we want to do in the game. Never to sort of just because of the opponent we're playing. It's all to do with our best performance. So let's see.
Alex Patterson, one of those players you mentioned, who's naturally had an impact since coming back. You'll be without him. Yeah. That's another decision, something else you have to tinker with to add to your workload. Is it a tricky one? A
little bit, because I think back to the Barrow game, we played Pato as one of the advanced 8s, and I didn't see the Pato I see in training every day until maybe a part of the second half. But we had to limit his minutes because of his comeback, and then just looking at what he shows us in training, and I thought as he changed the shape and playing him more central alongside Richie would help him, which helping him would help the team. There was other things it factors in there, but he was one of the main ones, and I thought he played for 60 minutes against Crewe exceptionally well as everyone else, and unfortunately he got the red card. Played again on Tuesday, gave him the armband to see how we'd handle that responsibility after the Saturday, and I thought he was superb again all game through. But that's what we want to try and be. I don't want to shoehorn players into positions that it stifles their quality, but we can't build a team around one play either. So it's important that we have a flexibility about ourselves, about actually the players that we're going to pick, what suits them the best.
Callum Kavanagh on Tuesday night, 2 brilliant finishes. We know how hard he's been working to get back amongst the goals. Yep. How did that make you feel when he did get those goals?
Really good, yeah. Look, we want all our players, especially the attacking ones, to be an attacking threat, a goal threat, and we know their oxygen is sticking the ball in the net. But like I said after the game, I think they have to understand the responsibility for what you do when you don't score. Off in and out of possession for the team is just as important for us. And if you just concentrate on one thing and ignore the rest, then you're putting your place at risk. And I think Callum's understood that, but he's a young player that's not got hundreds of games under his belt, so he's still learning the game. So it was natural for him to have a period like that. It was I won't say expected, but I've seen it before with young players, and we just had to remind him about what he did well when he first came in, because when we first signed him, he had no goal record to talk about, think about, but we signed him on the back of other things that he had, and we felt we could create a goal scorer with the amount of opportunities we create, how attacking we are as a team, and that seemed to be the case. But he probably just lost his focus for a little bit, or his focus was only on one thing. So wanted to take that pressure away, but there were 2 fantastic finishes. He's played a part in different ways in the previous goals we've scored in the team, and without being on the end of it. But we know we've got a good young player, but he's got to understand what creates consistency and which allows you to be picked every week.
And what you say there, I guess that for you and where you are at your career as a manager, it's where your experience of just having that little bit of patience with the younger players comes in, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that 100%. I was very impatient when I was a younger manager, but I was impatient as a player as well. So I wanted to be the best day one, So you get that, but I think over your career you learn to understand it's a process, and it's about daily habits and routines and actions, and if you get them right, then your performance follows. So, and it's about understanding what you're good at and what the team requires of you, and that. So I learned that as a player over the years, and I've certainly learned that as a manager to have a patience, a little bit of empathy, and understanding of where players are in their career. Because I was a young player and then an old player, so I've experienced it all. And try and give them the sort of the freedom, but certainly the guidance and support that they need to rediscover what they're good at. And because if you're here, you're a good player. That's how I see it. So it's just about creating a sort of platform for them to show their best.
Anthony back in full training. You spoke to Jamie last week. Yeah. Could he feature this weekend, or is it still a little bit too soon?
I've got to make that decision now, really, because we've obviously just had our last training session of the week, and obviously planned for tomorrow. And he was part of that training session. So and he has been all week. He has been going back probably 10 days now. So I think it's a good time to potentially have him involved. I just need to make sure, look at the squad as a whole, look where we might have to potentially make changes to the team for certain reasons. And, look, we want to have him back. We want him available. But we have to make sure that fitness-wise and physically he's in the right place, because we've done it with the other players, Pato, Aidan Baldwin, people like that, Kieran Kelly, where we've sort of staggered their introduction into the team or into the squad. And I think it's important for us to do that with these players, even though we're desperate to see them back. Yeah. We just have to make sure that we don't lose them again. So, I'll make that decision this afternoon, and let's see tomorrow.
Any other fresh injury concerns heading into tomorrow?
No. Everyone came through the last two games really well. Excuse me. So, a couple of boys that are coming back have been on the grass, but not with us in full sessions. But at the moment, the treatment room is relatively quiet. So let's keep it that way.
Fingers crossed.
Yes.
I was speaking to one of your former teammates on Monday, Michael Duff,
okay.
And I asked him about the festive schedule,
Yep.
one of the busiest times of the season. He says for the players it's great because all they do is play games.
Yeah.
He says as a head coach or manager, you don't actually get as much time on the grass with them as normal. Interesting to get your thoughts on that, and do you enjoy this time of the season?
I enjoy the whole season. I enjoy the different periods, the periods where you can train and there's gaps in between, and then when it's really intense, because it's just prepare, plan. So you over the years, as a player, you get to understand how you prepare for this festive period, the busy period, and as a manager, you do the same. So I think this is why pre-season is so important to me and all managers, because it's the only time when you get a true chunk of time to work with everybody, because then injuries come along or suspensions and games thick and fast. So it's quite a broken schedule sometimes, or you have to work in really rapid fashion. So. But yeah, I get it from Duffo, understanding that side of it. It's I think players do really enjoy the game side of it. Yeah. As a manager, I think we could probably do one game less over that period. I think just to be able to get that full performance from the players and actually plan. But I understand it's part of the beauty of the football season in England, that you have to overcome these busy periods. You have to come through it the other side in a better way with points under your belt. So we'll prepare as best as possible, but I believe the work started in pre-season to be able to go from game to game with limited training time. So but I enjoy it because I think you get bigger crowds. There's more of a feeling around it. So let's focus on Saturday first, and then that busy period's right on our doorstep.
And just on Saturday, lastly, I know how much you love your job when you come into work. Ian Holloway in the opposition dugout tomorrow. Is it your ambition? Do you envisage to have a managerial career as long as Ian?
Yeah, I don't afford myself to think that far ahead, to be honest. I don't think any manager can, with the type of world that we live in now. So look, it's amazing when I see these managers, get to like 1,000 games, David Moyes, Tony Pulis, people like that, where you've played against them as teams or played under them like I did, and you see other managers. I know he's really close to that sort of milestone as well, and I think it's an unbelievable achievement when you get there, if you get there, yeah, it's always good to pit your wits against really experienced managers, certainly ones that have worked at the top level, which Ian has, and he's one of football's great characters, isn't he? So it's always good to have people like that involved in the game.
Best luck for tomorrow. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Obviously, I think this Saturday is the first Saturday at home for 6 weeks.
So
on a weekend home game. I mean, it's been it's been amazing how it's sort of, it seems to be ages since you've had this opportunity, and I think 3 of the next 4 now are at home, so it's a chance to sort of get the supporters behind you, get the results on the board, isn't it? Yeah,
I think the supporters are behind us. I think I saw that last week at Crewe. I know it was only the away support, not the full support of Bradford, and but they've seen their team play really well in the last 2 games and really get behind us. We know we've not been at our best in other games at times, and they've let us know, which I have no problem with. But I never question their support for us as a group and their will to help us win. I've never seen that drop off. So, but yeah, we have been on the road a lot. Excuse me, over the last 6 or 7 weeks, and we've had a difficult time in certain games. But if you look at the last 2, we've really done well in those 2 games. So yeah, it's always, like I say, I think really enjoy the games at Valley Parade. I think we've got a reasonable record there over the last 6 or 7 months, but we want to get back to winning ways, of course, after the last two home league games. And we need to crack on with our home form, especially because it's important to us. It's important for the validation of the support we get, but it's also it's extra points to climb up that table.
And the atmosphere you can build. I mean, as I say, there'll be a lot of supporters, perhaps season ticket holders, don't go to all away games, so they won't have seen you for quite a while. So it's an opportunity to say get that atmosphere built up for these ahead of the period coming up. Yeah,
and we want to encourage that support and that backing, and you can do that with performances. I think hopefully the supporters that were there last Saturday and Tuesday have put the word out that we've turned a corner maybe, and we're sort of getting back to the team that we aspire to be and we were at the start of the season. And if that helps more people come along and come in with an optimism and a hope that we can still do something special this season, then the more the better. So but we have to validate that support with results. And that's why I think the game last Saturday against Crewe was special to me, because we didn't win the game, but the support saw the spirit of the team, the performance of the team, and I do believe supporters will always get behind a team that shows the right traits, and we've certainly done that in the last 2 games. So you can't guarantee results, but you certainly can guarantee commitment and your emotion towards a game, and I think that's what we have to do going into the game Saturday. I believe we have the quality, but I think Swindon are a good team as well. I think their league position belies the quality they have there, so we have to be at our best to get something from it.
I was going to say, Swindon have had a cracking week as well, haven't they? They've had 2 very good wins. Coming off a bad defeat, they've really bounced back. So you're probably meeting them at their confidence probably the highest it's been for probably quite a while.
Well, I'd say the same about us as well. So it adds up to a good game of football, but it's obviously one we want to win. But we have no divine right to do that. We have to go and do the same things that we did last Saturday and on Tuesday if we want to be successful on Saturday's game. So, but the players are in a good spot. They do feel it. I think they've been disappointed in themselves sometimes. I think frustrated, but I think they've never lost belief about what we can potentially do as a team and as a squad. So hopefully the last 2 games have given that extra sort of incentive to understand and that confidence to go and take the game to Swindon. But like you said there, like I said, it's still going to be a very tough game.
And talking of players coming in and doing well, I mean, I was going to ask you about the 2 free agents. Obviously Corrie and Paul Huntington coming in. They obviously came in halfway, third away through a season. They've had to sort of get up to speed. They've got their opportunities now, and they've both looked they both looked the part, haven't they?
Well, look, we know they're good players. They don't play at the level they have done without having talent and so forth. But they were out of contract for a reason, whatever those reasons were. And they came in at a time where we were obviously struggling for numbers. We were really down on players. But they would still been out of match practice for a long while. So even though the urge was there to use them straight away, we had to get them up to a good semblance of fitness without having the games, pre-season to have the practice games for them. So, we've been relatively careful with them because we didn't want to add to our injury woes by the 2 players we brought in being in that group as well. So it's been, I wouldn't say frustrating, but it's been I had to have confidence that they could go and play and stay fit. So, touch wood, they've done that over the last few weeks. But their talent and their ability was never in question from my side. So it's been great because they're 2 really good professionals. good characters around the place. I think they've gave their sort of experience to the players around them, and coming at a really important time for us. And yeah, it's great to work with guys like that.
So I mean, obviously their background and their experience isn't in doubt at all. But obviously, how difficult is it as a player when you've gone that long without playing competitively, and as you say, without a proper pre-season? You know, however good a player you are, it must be a bit of a battle to claw that back, sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I was fortunate. I never had that sort of period. Certainly from not playing to understand what it is. But it's not just the not playing. It's actually not having a team to train with every single day as well. So that comes down to your own personal sort of discipline and professionalism to look after yourself in the best way. So when you do have an opportunity like they both did when we brought them in to train, that they give their best and they can show their best. And we did give them the leeway, especially from my side, of judging them, understanding that they hadn't been with a team for quite a number of weeks or months. So I had to give them a bit of time to actually just settle in a little bit.
It's not like a pre-season trial where you make a sort of snap decision.
No, no, because everyone's in the same boat there. So everyone's, but you know, they've been out for a period. So, so it was just that really. So you know, I think they, when they've come into the team now, they've had the time to actually assess what we do and settle in with the characters and personalities around them. But the fitness one was a difficult one. But if they hadn't looked after themselves away from here in the best way, then they would have broke down. They would have broke down. So fair play to them. They've obviously kept their discipline, their professionalism to make sure when the opportunity came around, they're ready to take it. So it's like I say, I think they've been really good additions for us, and hopefully there's more to come from both of them.